Scott's taking this seriously. He is my cameraman. I'm going to show you how to preheat the oven, which you probably don't need help with that, but 475. If you don't have a little screen here that tells you when, in about 15 minutes, stick your bread in the freezer. It helps for scoring. You want to also preheat your Dutch oven or whatever pans you are using. I also stick a sheet pan under here because when you're baking the bread, it'll help prevent the bottom from getting burnt because it will be in there for almost an hour. So yes, once this gets to like 250, I'll stick my bread into the freezer before I score it. While we're waiting for the oven to preheat, I'm going to introduce you to Breadward Kaylyn. I don't know if you know or like Twilight, but Breadward Kaylyn for Edward Cullen. This is a jar that I found at the thrift store. You want a jar that is not airtight, but you also want it to where you can make it airtight in case you ever want to put your guy to bed. So when I bought the jar, it came with this, and it fits on there so that I can airtight it and put it to bed in the fridge. You can keep it in the fridge for literally up to a year without even touching it. Take it out, feed it a few times, and it'll be active again. So there's that. But I am having a good time making bread, so I'm not gonna put mine to bed. But yeah, I just popped that off with the butter knife. I think I bought this thing for like $3. So yes, and then the rubber band shows you where it sits so that you can see how high up it grows, because you want it to at least double in size. So yes, and then can you see the inside of that, honey? See how bubbly that is? If you could smell it, it should smell like acetone. Yes. And look like brains. All right, honey. Okay. So to feed your guy, you need to use the same flour that you use to make him. So in my case, since I'm giving you part of my Breadward Cullen, you would want to use bread flour. I also suggest never using bleached all-purpose flour because, I don't know, sciencey stuff. I just followed directions and was told not to. So we use bread flour. You can use rye flour, whatever other flour there is. I don't know. This is where people got really snobby. Measure with a scale, blah, 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 blah. I don't. I go by heart. So I do like 4 of these little spoons in here, and then a little less kind of the water, but it doesn't matter because you can just keep adding if you want. You'll just get a really big rise. A little spatula thing. I mean, I've used one of these before. I know some people even use like the stick parts of them. Whatever you want. You could use a spoon if you want. I just like this one because I like to scrape the sides down to keep it clean so you can see how far it's risen. But you mix this in. And what you're looking for is a thick pancake consistency. Yeah, and see, I can see this one's already too thick. That's too thick. So just a little bit of water. And you don't need to be delicate. In fact, you want to be a little bit rough to help create some air bubbles in there. Let's see. Still a little too thick. You want it, you don't want it to plop like that. You want it to be that's more like it. That has a nice little, I could maybe even go just a little bit more. There we go. Okay. That's nice. Okay, so then I scrape down the sides. Is that Mario Kart? What is that? I was just thinking about Mario Kart today, honey. I want to kick your ass again. I crave it. Electrolytes, it's what the plants crave. Okay. Now, what's left on here? Do not, as much as you can, get off of here before you stick it in your sink. Shit. Do that because when this gets hard, it gets really rock solid, and you don't want that down your drain. So, I just scrape that off. And then, I wipe off the top of the jar. Obviously, I didn't do a very good job last time because the jar is stuck. They sell jars that are specific for this too if you want to go that route. They're called Weck jars. You can get them on Amazon. They're actually really cool, and I might upgrade at some point. But it comes with a little ring that goes around the top like this, and then you put it on, and it has like little metal hooks for when you put it in the fridge to go to sleep if you want it to sleep. So then you move your rubber band up. Now everybody's rises at different times. Mine takes about 2 hours. I can bank on it being ready to use. I keep mine out of the sunlight because I heard that sunlight kills the yeast. Thank you, honey. Sunlight kills the yeast, so I keep mine in my cupboard. It's warmer in there anyways. You want to keep it about 72 to 78 degrees. I have a thermometer, like a forehead thermometer that I use because it has a house setting, so I just go in there and check it every once in a while to see if it's a good temperature. I also keep my bread in there, my dough, when I'm doing my stretch and folds, and my not my fermenting, when I let it sit for 4 to 5 hours. What's that called, baby? Is it fermenting? Oh. Okay, so when it's sitting in there, I put my bread in my cupboard too for that, because you want to keep it warm too. Oh shoot, I need to put my bread in the freezer real quick. So, this is called a Benetton. I'm washing the other part of it right now, but usually there's a lining that goes in here. But I'm using a tea towel, plain tea towel. This is the bread. This is what you put it in when you're done shaping it, and then you stick it in the fridge. And then these are shower caps that I got off of Amazon. They are very helpful. So yes. But if you don't have one of those, you don't need to excuse my fridge. If you don't have one, you don't need to worry. This is my croissant loaf that we're gonna do. I just greased it really well. So yeah, so I'm gonna put the cap back on and stick it in the freezer until it's done preheating. Now, another thing with Another thing with this, if you see clear liquid on top, that's called hooch. It is actually hooch. Some people dump it out. I personally mix it back in, and that is telling you that it's hungry and needs to be fed again. So what you would do is you would either dump it out, mix it in, and then dump out half, and then feed it just like you did over here. When you dump out half, you can save that. It is called discard. You can still cook with that, or you can start a new starter like I'm going to do for you. I'm going to dump out half and give it to you. You can use it as starter, or my first thing that I ever made with discard was the pretzels, right? Yeah, I made soft pretzels. They were delicious. They were gone in minutes. So yes. Oh, no, pancakes. There's lots of things you could do with the discard. So you could keep that in the fridge in an airtight container. I don't know if there's anything else about the naming your sourdough starter is not required, but it's fun. I have a breadwort colon. I have a breadgar Allen dough, and I have a breadgar scissor hands. So sour hands. I haven't used him in a while. But all of those jars are also, they're put to bed. I'll bring them over here, honey. I have those ones are sleeping. But again, this is just another jar that I got. You could take this out, and there's hooch in there. You see it? There's hooch. So I would take that out, I would mix it in, I would dump out half, I would feed it, and then I would put it in its spot and let her ride. When you take them out from resting, you want to feed it a few times before you cook with it. And by a few times, some people feed their sourdough starter twice a day, some once. I only do mine once. So just airtight when you put it to bed, or else it'll get moldy. I've heard people leave theirs in their fridge for up to a year and it still be good. So you can literally keep this forever. See ya when the oven's preheated, I guess. Alright. So, take it out of the freezer. I'm not sure how this is gonna go because I've never made it in just a greased bowl. So we'll learn this one together. Now, while the sling is not necessary, it is highly recommended. It has made my life so much easier. I set it on top and I flip. There we go. Okay. So, this looks terrifying. This is what it looks like. And then shaker, not necessary, but fun. You could literally just sprinkle flour on. This is a blade to score your bread because you're going to want it scored. Also not necessary, but makes life simple. So, for contrast, when you're cutting, you would want to sprinkle this on top. Make sure it has a nice layer. There's nice bubbles in there, honey. I'm so excited. Alright. I'm going to just do a cross. Do not be scared. Get in them guts. And I like to also go in sideways to really get it cut in deep on the sides too, so it gets a nice lift when it bakes. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to be working with the oven. Yeah? Okay. Now, you want to take out your Dutch oven or whatever pan you are using. You do have to do a pan with a lid because the moisture, the condensation is what helps the bread rise. So it does have to be a pan with a lid. I did not have one when I first started making, so I literally just did my... Hey! You two knock it off. I literally just did a regular old cast iron and then I put a metal bowl on top of it. It worked. It wasn't the greatest, but it did its job. So, hot, hot, hot. And this is why the sling is the best. Yeah, stick it in there. And then you put this on top. Boop. There we go. Alright. Then set a timer for 30 minutes. Come on. Okay. After 30 minutes, drop the temperature down to 420 and bake it for another 20 minutes. Drop the temperature down to 420, bake for another 20 minutes with the lid off. So after your timer goes off, drop the temperature to 420, take it out, take the lid off, put it back in, bake for 20 more minutes, and you should have a loaf. After that, you let it cool for an hour, and then you are ready to eat. That's it. All right, recording? Okay, so now I'm going to drop my temperature down to 420. Oops. Okay, and this is the best part because you get to see what your bread looks like. Yeah. Okay, and I kind of leave that open to let it cool down faster while I take the lid off. Woo, buddy! She's pretty. You want to see? She rose up real nice. See that? Look at that freaking butter just melting. I'm so fucking excited for this. Okay. Now, bing. Go back in for 20 minutes to let it brown up. Whoops. Like the wrong way. Boop. All right. See you in 20. Moment of truth. Oh, that's beautiful, mate. Gorgina. These are still hot. Another reason why the sling is nice to have. Look at that. Look at that rise. Because I'm going to need this because I'm baking another loaf. My first time making 2 loaves in one day. Okay. Bump this back up. Hello, wood war. Look at it. Maybe not over the garbage can, huh? Look, it's dripping. I'm excited. It looks a little bit flat. Not by much. So that's exciting. So I let this sit for an hour before you cut into it. And then pitter patter, let's get at her. I'll show you the crumb when we're done. Whoop. Oh, that's flaky. That usually doesn't happen because usually it's regular bread, but I forgot that I made I made croissant bread. But usually you can feel the bounce on it. When you squish it and it pops back up, that means you did a very good job. And this isn't dense, so that tells me that it's nice on the inside. All right, see you in a little bit. All right, it's been an hour. We're gonna cut into this one. This one is the croissant. So I, when I did my stretch and folds, I grated butter and put it in. Hey, baby. Are you done with that?
Yeah.
Okay. When I did my stretch and folds, I put the grated butter in with it, and this is my first time making it, so we'll see what it looks like on the inside. I made one of what I made you guys because I didn't make us one, so I wanted to try it, see if it was good. This one has, instead of regular salt, it's garlic salt, and then onion powder, and Italian seasoning. And then when I did my lamination, I put grated Parmesan cheese in there. So let's cut this open. There we go. This is a bread knife. If you don't have one, you don't need one, but I could tell you that it was 100% worth the money. Oh my God, did you see that spring bag there? That's sexy. All right, you ready to try it? You ready to dink it and sink it, Lovey?
Yep.
Hey, you want a piece of my bread?
Yeah.
That I just made?
Yeah.
Okay. Wesley, you want one too? Wesley. Yeah, but this is a different bread. You want to try it? I just made it.
What does it taste like?
Well, I don't know. You gotta taste it.
No.
I've never had it before.
No. Mom, no.
You're welcome.
Sourdough. Hey.
He doesn't want to try. Here you go. Dink it.
Clink.
Dink it. Mmm. That tastes like a croissant. That is fantastic. Holy crap.
It's sour. It's light. It's fluffy. It's flaky.
Oh my God.
It's delicious.
Honey. That's the best. I know I say this every time, but this is the best loaf I've ever made. Wow. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Alright. Are you still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. These are the kind of bubbles you're looking for. I have a chart that I'll send you along with the base recipe that I use to make all of my loaves. I'll send that too. But we want this. That's perfect. That spring back, sexy. Yeah, that's good. We're gonna have to send some of this to your parents' bed. I want you to know that these were not recorded in order. So Scott's funny. Okay. He's doubled. Let's make some bread. I recommend a glass bowl. Not required, but recommended. That way you can see when it's doubled in size. This is where the sourdough snobs didn't lie. You will want a food scale. Not recommended, but as Scott can attest, my breads turn out better because I use a scale and he uses cups. Measuring cup thingy. This, you want, you don't need to record me. Okay, okay. You want filtered water, works best. Well, that's what I was going to say when you went out. Oh, I don't know why I'm talking to you. That's what I was going to say when I was feeding Breadward. You could use tap water when you're feeding, but you want to use filter water when you are making your bread, and you want it to be warm to help break down the starter. So while that's going, you want to put your bowl on the scale, zero it out. You want to weigh it in grams. You want 100 grams of your starter. Look at all them brainy goodness. Woo! I did too much. Saute. Perfect. Okay. Set them aside because you're going to want to scrape that down. Figure out what you want, girl. Okay. Warm, not hot. And you want 350 grams bitch. All right, 355. The snobs would tell you to take some out, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave it at 355 because it doesn't matter, because I've done this before. I mean, go over, not bake the bread. And then you want 10 grams of salt. Use your dominant hand, Kaylyn, you dumbass. I know you should be moving. Okay. My scale's not moving, but that's about 10 grams. And then you want to get your... Did I not wash my freaking dough whisk before I started this? Not very well. We'll just forget that. This is a Danish dough whisk. Not required, but helpful. You want to mix your warm water and your starter until it is dissolved-ish. Alright. You want to use the same flour that you used for your starter for your bread. You want to zero out your scale again. Grams. You want 500 grams of bread flour. That's what we're using. Chip balls. Perfect. Okay. You can turn your scale off, set it aside. and mix. Now, at this point, it's not all the way mixed in yet. And I would wet your hands before you go in doing hand mixing because it helps prevent it from sticking to your hands. But then I would go in and mix in those last remaining flour pockets. Didn't really help me that much to water my hands, did it? She's sticky. Alright, this is what they call shaggy dough. How it just like pulls apart. You can see it's shaggy. That's a good thing. We like that. We like shaggy. Alright, I would pull it in the middle. Get as much off of your hands as you can. Boop. Now, this you can leave on your counter if your counter is between 72 and 78 degrees. My counters are very cold because our windows suck ass, so I keep mine where I keep my starters. You want to cover it up. Hairnets, not required, recommended. Otherwise, you can cover it with a wet hand towel. This is just convenient and less laundry that I have to do. Boop, 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 boop. Now, set a timer for 30 minutes. Alexa, babe, could you set me a timer for 30 minutes and label it first stretch and fold? Stretchable timer, 30 minutes. Thanks, baby. All right, see you in 30 minutes. Okay, I misspoke. When I made the dough, you're supposed to let it sit for an hour. But this is what it looks like now. And remember how it was shaggy? And now it's stretchy. Okay, so a stretch and fold is literally you go in, you stretch, you fold. You stretch, you fold. You stretch, you fold. And you just keep doing this until it gets like really tight and it starts just like the whole ball will lift up on its own. There it is. It's starting to all lift up. There you go. See how it's starting to all come up together instead of just the corners? Yeah, the whole ball is coming up now. Okay. So once it's like that, put it in the middle, cover it back up, do it again in 30 minutes. Alright, so you'll do 3 stretch and folds 30 minutes apart, and once you've done your final stretch and fold, you will cover it back up. You will put it where you've been putting it. You will leave it alone and ignore it for 4 to 5 hours, in which time it should more than double in size. Usually mine is about halfway up this bowl. So yes, see you in 4 or 5 hours. Okay. It's more than doubled. So you're going to flour your bowl if you're using a cloth or a Benetton. And if you're using just a normal bowl that isn't lined with anything, grease it. Then you're going to want to flour your counter. Boop, 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 boop. Generously. Snobs would say let it fall out on its own, but I always help this bitch out because I don't have all day. Come on. There you go. Alright. You're going to want to spread it out into a rectangle as best you can. This part is called lamination. Try not to push too hard on your dough because all of these bubbles, you want those. Alright, now if you're going to add stuff into this, this is when you would do it. So you would sprinkle, 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 fold, sprinkle, fold, sprinkle. And then now we roll. Now you have it looking like a little roll. You push, tuck your hand under, and tuck the dough in. Push, tuck, push, tuck, push, tuck. And you do this until tight. That's what I'm saying. So you want it to be like able to hold its own form and slightly bouncy-ish. Excuse you. Did you hear that? One of the bigger bubbles popped. Okay. I think that looks good. Okay. I floured my Benetton. You flip, you plop. And then you cover. I lied. Flour that so your cover doesn't stick. You just let it stay. Alright, and then you put this thing to bed in the fridge for 12 hours. Or 10. I think I've done it on 8 before. I don't know, play.